HECTOR'S.
Hi guys, welcome back to the toss from my kitchen to yours. This is Hector. Today we're going to be preparing mole de olla, which is a very tasty Mexican dish, and these are the ingredients for it. But before, let me take a sip of my beer. It's kind of a hot day in Chicago today, which is a good thing. Change of weather, you know. Anyway, so we're gonna need 4 pounds of pork spine, espinazo. You can go to your local grocery store and ask for it. They'll butcher it for you. And then for the sauce, we're gonna need about 6 or 7 guajillo chiles, depending on the size. These are really small, so I have like 7 or 8 pieces of that. Then we're gonna need some pulla chile, about 6 of those, about 10 of these arbol chiles. This is what's gonna give it the heat, so you put as much as you like, because these are really spicy. We like it spicy. And then I'm gonna put 3 ancho chiles, because that's gonna give it some smokiness and some texture to the sauce. Also for the sauce, I'm gonna need 1 tomato and 4 tomatillos, half of onion, and 5 garlic cloves. So we're gonna get this started right now. I'm gonna take the meat and we're gonna take it over here. I already have this pan with hot water simmering or boiling. I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons of salt, kosher salt. And then I'm gonna throw this meat in there. We're gonna bring it to a boil, and once it starts boiling, we're gonna bring it down to a simmer, and it's gonna simmer for about 2 hours. We want it to be really tender, and you don't want to get rid of the broth, because we're gonna use that broth to make the sauce. But we're not done with that. Also to this, I'm gonna put a half of onion, and 5 garlics. I didn't even peel the garlic, I just smashed them to release the oils. And I'm gonna throw this in there. And then we're gonna cover this and bring it up to a simmer. Now I have another pot going with hot water. Also starts, it's simmering right now. And I'm gonna use that to cook the nopales once I get them all cut up. But before we do that, I already cleaned the tomatoes and tomatillos. I'm gonna put this in the back burner. Throw about a tablespoon of olive oil. But I'm gonna put this tomato and the tomatillos in there, this onion and the garlic. And while we're waiting for that to get warm, we're gonna get all of our dried chiles, which they're already being cleaned. Just rinse them a little bit, because sometimes they tend to have a little sand in there. So we're gonna put all of those in there. So get some water in there, and then we're gonna put them back on this burner. And that once it starts like boiling, you can just turn it off. Now we're gonna throw this onion in here. We're gonna bring this to like a medium high or low high. And then we're gonna cover it and just let it cook. Every once in a while we can just shake them, but it'll be fine. Okay? I'm gonna start cutting our nopales, and I'm gonna show you how. I bought them with the thorns or with it. I think they're fresher, but most of your local grocery stores already have them peeled and diced or cut up for you. So it's totally up to you how you want to do it. I like to do it myself. I believe they're fresher, you know? So I'm just gonna show you to make it a quicker event. I'm gonna get 2 together. I'm gonna get a fairly sharp knife. You gotta be careful. And then I'm just gonna cut them into strips. They do have a gamey texture to it. You're gonna see it. I'm gonna show it to you once I start cooking them. All right, I'm gonna get this done and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I already cut my nopales or my cactus, see, into strips. We're gonna throw those into this boiling water. And we're gonna let them cook for a little bit. We just wanna kind of blanch them. You don't want it overcooked because we're also gonna put them into that whole dish, so they're gonna keep on cooking. So what we wanna do is have them in here. Once it starts simmering, you're gonna notice the change of color, and we're gonna drain them. I already have my strainer ready here. I'm gonna put it down. And see what I was telling you? You see the water gets real thick. It's because they have this, it's like a sticky texture to it. But anyway, we're gonna leave those alone for a couple minutes. We're gonna put this back on there. See, this water started already boiling, so I'm gonna turn that off. And we're gonna let our peppers just rehydrate. We're gonna let them sit there for about 10-15 minutes. Okay? Now we're gonna check on this. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir just to make sure that everything's cooking evenly, and then put this back on there. And now we're gonna get working on our potatoes. I'm gonna peel them, and I'm gonna put a little bit of water in this container because as I peel them, kind of might want to put them there. I don't want them to turn dark. I'm gonna peel them, and I just like these potatoes because they're very creamy. They have a lot of flavor to it, and I'm gonna show you the size that I want them. So I'm gonna cut them in half, and half. So I'm just gonna quarter them. So you know, they're not too small, but they're not too big. All right, we'll see you in another minute. I'm gonna get this done. All right, guys. The nopales have been here for about 3 minutes, and you can see they already changed colors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna get them out because I don't want them to be overcooked, like I said, you know, because they're gonna keep on cooking on this dish. So we're gonna throw them in here, and we're gonna stop the cooking process by running some cold water. The nopales have already been rinsed with cold water. We stop the cooking process. We're just gonna leave them alone for a little bit till we start cooking the rest. Hi guys, so I'm done with my potatoes. I ended up putting 2 more potatoes in there. I thought it was like missing a little more. And I'm gonna make a dish to go with our mole de olla. I'm gonna make a white rice. So I'm gonna get it started. I'm gonna get this going. Get some, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna grab one of these onions, and we're gonna cut it. We're gonna dice it. Peel this out. So we're gonna dice the onion while our oil is getting hot. And then we're gonna grab a garlic clove. We're gonna take this garlic, get your knife, smash it, and then we're just gonna peel it, oils, and we're gonna throw this in the hot oil. So it'll infuse the oil that we're gonna cook the rice with. And remember, tomatillos and tomato and the garlic and the onion, those are done. I'm gonna turn them off, and we're gonna get this going. A poblano pepper, we're gonna wash it, and we're gonna dice the poblano pepper. I love this rice because you get the flavor of the poblano. We're gonna put some cilantro in there. It's just a good rice, and it goes with pretty much everything, you know. If you don't have poblano peppers, you can do it with a bell pepper. So it's all diced. Now we're gonna throw this in here with the onions and the garlic. We're gonna let that saute a little, give it a little stir. Bring the temperature up a little bit. To make rice, I'm gonna use a coffee cup as a measurement because if I use a regular cup, it's not gonna be enough rice. I'm gonna use one of these cups. And then we're gonna, you hear it? Oh, I wish you could smell it. We're gonna throw this here, and then we're gonna let the rice combine with that, so it'll take all the flavors from the oil. So just remember, if you put 1 cup of rice, you're gonna put 2 cups of water or chicken broth. Always double the portion of the rice. Now we're gonna cover it, let it come up to a simmer, and now I'm gonna grab some cilantro. We're gonna rinse it. I'm gonna cut the ends off, just give it a twist. All right, it feels clean, it doesn't feel sandy at all. So now we're gonna chop our cilantro. It doesn't have to be perfectly chopped. We're gonna bring this here. I didn't have any chicken broth, so I'm gonna use chicken bouillon. And I'm just gonna wait for this to come up to a simmer so we can put the chicken bouillon and the cilantro in there. While we're doing that, I'm gonna grab my blender. Peppers for my sauce have been rehydrated, so I'm gonna grab those and just put them in the blender. I'm gonna throw that water in there too, because that's gonna give it some flavor. And then remember our tomatillo and the onion and the garlic and the tomato. We're gonna throw those in there too. And there's a couple of ingredients that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video. Those ingredients are going to be black peppercorns, some ground cumin as well. So this is about a half spoon. 10 peppercorns. I'm gonna throw about 3 cloves. Those go a long way as well, so you don't want to overdo it. We're not gonna blend this with salt because we're gonna use some of this broth from the pork, and that has salt already. So when we blend it, we're gonna blend it with that, and then we're gonna taste it as we go, see if we need more salt, then we're gonna put more salt. Now this is already come to a boil. I'm gonna grab a tablespoon, and I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons about this full. You don't wanna put a lot because it'll be salty. We're gonna mix this. Now we're gonna grab all of our cilantro and put it right in there. I know it seems like a lot, but it's really not, because it's gonna cook down. Now we're gonna grab our spoon. We're gonna make sure we mix the cilantro into there. Now we're gonna cover this, and we're gonna lower our flame, not mid, but between low and mid. And then we're gonna let it cook for about 16 to 18 minutes. Hey guys, so we're gonna check on our meat. It's been simmering for about 2 hours already. I'm pretty sure it's done. We're gonna get a fork and pinch on it, and if it goes through, it means that it's tender. So yeah, our meat is done. So now I'm gonna take it off, put it in a container. So now we're gonna strain our broth. And then we're gonna put our pot back on the fire. So we're gonna make our sauce. And remember what I told you, we're not gonna add any more salt because the broth already has salt in it. So we're gonna try it after it's done, and if it needs more salt, then we'll add more to it. On the blender, and we're gonna start it on low speed to high for about 2 minutes. Alright, so our sauce went in the blender at a high speed for about 2 minutes. I got my pot back on the fire. I put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I drained my potatoes. Now I'm gonna throw my potatoes in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. And we're gonna let them cook for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna cover this and let them go for about 10 minutes. While we're waiting on our potatoes, we're gonna get our sauce. I'm gonna get the strainer again. And I'm gonna strain this because you don't want all the dead skin from the dry peppers. And work my sauce through the strainer. Oh, it smells delicious. You can smell the cumin, the cloves, the garlic. It tastes really good with chicken too, with beef. We're gonna add the rest. We're gonna put it back in the blender with a little bit more of that pork broth, and we're gonna let it go in the blender for another 2 minutes on a high speed. We can bring our blender here, and then we're gonna put this back in there. Put a little bit more broth in there. About a cup back in the blender for 2 minutes at a high speed. Don't start it out at a high speed because it's hot. So if you turn it on high right away, it's gonna explode. So what you wanna do is start on low and then work your way up to the high. All right, so remember that second round that we blended? I already went through it and strained it into the rest of the sauce. Our potatoes have been cooking for about 10 minutes right now. We're gonna check on them. Oh, I can smell the potatoes. So we're just gonna toss them a little bit. They look great, they smell delicious. And now we're gonna throw our sauce in there. We're gonna get a little bit more broth. About another cup to get all this goodness out. So now we're gonna cover this back, let it come up to a boil, and then once it starts boiling, we're gonna put it down to a simmer. While we waited for that, my corn flour here, which I'm gonna put right in here, we're gonna make a little bowl of dough, and we're gonna thicken our sauce with this. Get some water. And we're gonna mix it. Our dough is done, but we're not gonna put this in up until like maybe 10 more minutes. We want the sauce to cook first. Alright, so our rice it's been done. I checked it at the 16-minute mark and it had no more water, but it wasn't quite done yet. So what I did is I put a quarter of a cup of water in there, turned it off, and just cover it. And now it's done. It's not overcooked. It's just cooked perfectly. Now, this has been simmering for about 15 minutes. Our sauce should be done. You can tell when the fat starts floating on top or rising. That's a sign that our sauce has been cooked. So we're gonna bring it up to a boil. Now we're gonna get our dough, put it in the blender, and then we're gonna put the rest of the broth in there. 10-15 seconds. That should be good. And now we're gonna thicken our sauce with this. What you want to do is pour it slowly and stir at the same time. That way it won't get lumpy. I can see already that it started to thicken. And then you can make it as thick as you want. If you don't like things real thick, you can see it started to thicken. I'm gonna put a little bit more. Keep on stirring. I'm just gonna put the rest, make it thicker. Now we're gonna have to let it simmer a bit more because you want the roux to cook. You don't want the masa or the dough or the thickener to taste like it hasn't been cooked. But it's got a good thickness to it. And the more it simmers, the thicker it's gonna get. So we're gonna put this in there. We're also gonna add our nopales. We're gonna mix them. If it's too thick, I saved a little bit of broth. You can always add more broth to thin it out a little bit. And we're gonna let this come to a simmer and let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna, but before that, let's make sure we have enough salt in there. Grab a spoon, get your taste, blow on it, don't burn yourself. It's perfect, it doesn't need any more salt. Now we're gonna cover it. Once it starts simmering, let it simmer for like 10 minutes. Like I said, make sure the masa dough cooks, and then we're gonna add our pork to it at the end. See you in a minute. So our sauce was simmering for about 10 minutes. I just added the meat into there. As you can see, you can put all the pieces of meat in there. You don't need to let it keep the fire on because this is so hot and it's so thick that heat will heat up the meat again. So just cover it. Whenever you're ready to eat, go for it. Obviously, if it's going to be a couple of hours from when you cook it, you need to reheat it again. Just turn it off. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we will. And provecho. Please don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and tell all your friends about it. Give us a like. Thank you so much.